MIT में पढ़कर हम चलते हैं सक्सेस की ओर। MIT Group of Academic and Research Institutions, Aurangabad, Maharashtra, announces admission in engineering and management with 40 years in technical education, over 12,000 plus students, best placement cell in world-class companies, best infrastructure. Bead Bypass, Aurangabad. Call 0240-237-5375 or visit www.mit.asia.
A very good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of Maharashtra Institute of Technology, I welcome all the panelists to the third session of the third day of International Symposium on Opportunities and Challenges of Industry 4.2. The panel members who will be present for the panel discussion today are Mr. Suresh Chakravar sir, Vice President of Findability Sciences, Professor Asim Tiwari sir, Professor IIT Bombay, Professor Makarand Kulkarni, Professor IIT Bombay, Dr. Thomas Uslander, Fraunhofer IOSB Germany, Mr. Kiran Natarajan, COEB Entrip Technologies. Also we have Mr. Sanjay Deshmukh from MIT Aurangabad. Mr. Sanjay Deshmukh is an entrepreneur involved in innovative technology products and service development for serving unmet needs. He has also worked on special purpose missions, machine development for automation of automotive engine assembly and testing. He co-founded a company in Bangalore and co-invented text analysis technology to get actionable information, insights from unstructured data. He is a co-inventor of algae to omega-3 technology, which is a license to a company in China for commercialization and scale-up. He has also developed training services vertical at MIT. I welcome you, sir. Also, we have Professor Vishwas Kurundkar from MIT Aurangabad again. Vishwas Kurundkar, sir, has over 30 years of experience in industrial automation. He has worked with global Indian multinational companies like Rockwell Automation, Crompton Greaves, Kirloskar Electric and Bajaj Auto Limited. He has worked in various roles and capacities, including business manager, technical lead, brand labeling, export marketing, regional sales, and maintenance. Currently, Mr. Kurundkar is director of Netra MIT Technology Business Incubator. He is also head of Marathwada MedTech Lab, which is a MedTech devices rapid prototyping facility. I welcome you all on behalf of MIT. The moderator for this panel discussion today is Dr. Prashant Ambad, the IQAC and Industry Cell Coordinator at MIT. Now I request Dr. Ambad to continue with this session. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, sure. Welcome you all for this panel discussion session. Some noise is coming. I think we can start with the session. So the first question for the panel discussion, to open the panel discussion is, so what will be the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on implementation of Industry 4.0, especially from the economy point of view? I think Kiran sir, could you start?
Sure. That's the question that we've been grappling with for the past few months. Definitely, there has been a 100% short-term impact on this thing. So 2-3 data points that I would like to share. So before this, we were the customers or new prospects who we were talking to, and orders that we had just got, new orders. So none of those have been cancelled, which is a good indicator by itself, saying that people are looking at things coming back and restarting that. However, going forward, when whatever conversations we are having with people, they're still not clear when budgets will be opened up for projects like industrial RT. Now, the main purpose of industrial IoT projects is to help improve your operations. And the goal of most of the manufacturing businesses right now is to start generating demand also. So before demand is generated and production levels are not coming up, at least the payment part of it will not happen. Having said that, that it's an interesting time to try out different models. So earlier, for example, all our sales were more capex driven. That means projects used to come out of capex budgets. Right now, we started in the newer scheme of things, we've started offering it more as a service in a OPEX model, and people are more open to that. So at least some element of business model changes that we wanted to do for some time are now more acceptable as well. And a lot of people have just said that they have frozen budgets till at least September, and they will. So mostly we are looking at things picking up from Diwali. That's the overall feeling that we get.
Yeah, Dr. Oslander, sir. Sir, your opinion.
Yes, okay, this corona crisis has, of course, had severe impacts on our work with respect to the next phases of and next versions of the Industry 4.0 specifications. All these working groups are meeting now online, which defers their finalization. But what of the most severe consequence was that the Hanover Trade Fair in Germany was cancelled in April. First it was moved to July, then it was cancelled, because this Hanover Trade Fair always was a milestone for the delivery of Industry 4.0 deliveries and specifications. So now this is not possible. We have to move to virtual formats, to online formats, and seek for other fairs and events in Germany, probably the Smart Production Solutions Fair in November. But probably all activities will now be targeted towards the Hanover Trade Fair next year in April. Hopefully that this will be possible, and that we can then have a good consolidated set of Industry 4.0 specifications that may also be directly implemented. So work is going on, but it is deferred. People are, as we say in Germany, in short work in industry. That is, they are not allowed to officially work. They do it on their own then. But of course, motivation is not so good. So the progress is slowed down.
Yeah.
On the other hand, there are also benefits. All these online formats, all these webinars, conferences, virtual fairs get much more audience as if you made a physical event. So we can also exploit this situation and take this as an opportunity to make Industry 4.0 a worldwide known label, and make the specifications really known worldwide.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Suresh, sir, your views. Yes, sir.
Hello, can you
Yes,
hear
sir.
me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this COVID pandemic has changed the world. So, like, I mean, the way people used to work, the way people used to think, the way people used to plan things, everything has changed. So the world is not the same. So everything is changing, and everybody is grappling with the change that has enforced on this world by this COVID pandemic. So everybody is trying to understand, trying to, I mean, match or trying to align with the new reality, the new fact, the new world. So a lot of things are emerging, and net effect of this would be like there would be many new innovations. There would be many things which were in past will go away. Many organizations will disappear. Many new organizations will appear. So we have seen a kind of a turmoil in the financial crisis of 2008, or after that, whatever has happened. Similar to that, but at a larger scale, things will change. The way, I mean, not only in business, but in the social behavior, the personal behavior. So, on all aspects of life, the things, I mean, COVID has impacted greatly, and everything is changing. So, on business front, we are seeing a few organizations where they are taking more time to make a decision compared to earlier, but also we are seeing few organizations where decision making is not impacted. So again, it all depends on uh, where you are on the change of, I mean, the curve of change. So whether you are at a shock stage, you are denial stage, or resistance stage, or acceptance stage. So at what stage you are, every organization will be at a different stage, and accordingly, their response to this COVID will be in a different way. But it will be good if everybody comes to acceptance stage and start making decisions and moving ahead, accepting the fact that this COVID is going to remain with us at least for some future period of time.
Yeah, yes, sir. So we'll go to second question. How institutes can prepare themselves from traditional lab setup into labs ready for Industry 4.0? I would like to start with Asim, sir.
Yeah, actually, thank you. My video seems to have reached the limit, it seems, so I can't have my video switched on. I probably wanted to just quickly, before I go to the second question, talk about the first aspect. Okay. See, the biggest change which Corona pandemic has created is the human psyche. Actually, physically, the world has not changed a lot. If you look at the mortality rate of the world and the blip because of the extra people dying because of this pandemic is not that huge, but it's the psyche which has changed. And this in future will essentially be helping going forward for thoughts and concepts of Industry 4.0. The reason is that people are now, industrialists and industries are realizing that they would like to be less dependent on humans and they want to be more dependent upon technology. And I think that's where we will see a major change in the acceptance of Industry 4.0 and IoT based technologies and things like that. So that's something which will be there. Coming to your specific question as to how industries and academia and others should prepare for this, basically that's the second question you had, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So that is something which actually is a thing which has to be seen, because the entire world is not going to act in the same manner. So for instance, US, India, many parts of Europe have been very badly impacted. UK, for instance, has gone ahead and said that they would be having online courses in many of their institutes and the universities and colleges. So I think that is something which the academia will have to figure out, but this will have the biggest impact on academics, because physical teaching, labs and other kinds of entrepreneurship activities which are required for something like this may be delayed more than what we would like to. So I don't think we will be back to normal till middle of the next quarter of next year, basically. So I'm looking at almost a year from now that we will have an impact. And industry, of course, will probably be all right much quicker, but academics will have the biggest challenge.
Yeah. Vishwas, sir, your comments.
Yeah, if we are linking Corona with this, or delinking corona impact with this. I'm considering we are delinking corona impact and the skill set required for, say, Industry 4.0, considering what is expected skill sets from the students and how to prepare the laboratories and workshops for the students in academia. So I'll cover that particular part. Okay, say this impact will go, I mean, situation normal in few months or a year down the line. But what is required definitely is, say, we have started working on that, particularly in view of those skill sets required, or we can call it 21st century skill sets broadly. Uh, so we have set up an lab, which you can call it tinkering lab or innovation lab, where students can come and work hands-on. The whole syllabus for that is also covered, that we'll discuss more on that. But the equipment part and the whole approach that we have taken here in MIT is the industry grade machines. The practically those machines, those are used in industry. Our focus is in offering that experience to the students here right at the institute academic level. So now we are setting up a rapid prototyping facility, and the machines chosen, the CNC machine or the CNC lathe machine or the milling machine that we have selected are best of industry uh, features that has the additive manufacturing unit that we are setting up, and that in fact right now the machine commissioning is on. So those are fastest machines with industry grade production machines are being set up here, so that students get the exposure to those machines. They use them here right during academia, and they are ready when they face the real world. So that's a approach that we are trying to inculcate here, that they are more hands-on, but not simply on academia level equipments and machines. They're on industry level that we are. That's the approach that we have taken.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I would like to request Makran, sir.
Yes.
Sir, how institutes can prepare themselves from traditional lab setup into labs ready for Industry 4.0?
Well, see, based on my experience, there are many lab setups that are being offered by companies like Siemens and others. But the problem with these setups, as per my experience, is that they are very rigid in nature, in the sense that they have a very limited capability to demonstrate certain concepts. What we require for our academics and the kind of demonstrators that we should develop for to show Indian industry are the ones that have the required amount of flexibility built into it. So we need to have open systems, non-proprietary hardware, non-proprietary software, open standards, all these things. So unless we build our systems or the demonstrators using these technologies which are open, it is going to be very difficult for uh, academic institutes, even like IIT, to afford many such setups. And of course, the private institutes are going to find it even more difficult. At the same time, the industry is also interested in knowing about such systems which use open standards. And in fact, Industry 4 is also about making systems interoperable, and that happens when you have open standards and non-proprietary tools being used. So unless we build such systems or demonstrators, it is very difficult to set up really useful and flexible laboratory setups.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sir, Kiran, sir, can you add something into it? Means how industry will help in this?
I think there is a lot of scope for industry to help, and I completely agree with Professor what he said just now in terms of bigger companies like Siemens, Mitsubishi. They, at the end of the day, they, even if they give some of this equipment, it's which it turns out to be a little close-ended. The need for putting in open-ended systems is there. I think it's up to even not just say Siemens and Mitsubishi's, but even other companies like, let's say, automotive OEMs, right? All these, there has to be more collaboration to get kind of more working setups from these people and put in without any preconditions, so to speak, because a lot of it that we see usually comes with a certain set of preconditions, whatever we get. It would be good to get a certain amount of equipment and a certain amount of machines without any preconditions. I think that needs to be pushed for, and I'm sure if quite some of these industries are approached, that is possible. So.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Number of people say that because of Industry 4.0, there will be a reduction in the manpower. So, what is your opinion about it? So, can Thomas sir start?
Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. From the beginning on, this was a very, very big discussion in Germany. If Industry 4.0 would really reduce the number of employees, or if it would even increase the number of employees. Discussion is not finalized, but it's rather clear that there will be a change in the skills that are required. So on the one hand, simple manual work may be replaced by robotics and by automation. On the other hand, not all of these activities are really commercially useful. So sometimes it's better if you think of a good quality of the product result and flexibility. It's better to integrate humans, although they may have simple work in the production process, in the assembly process, for example. So there are both sides. We also can better integrate people that have some disabilities using adaptable production systems, using cameras and so on. We can really check what is being done by the human, and we can correct, we can help, we can support the human in doing things. So also it's better to integrate people that have some disabilities that are coming from other nations that do not speak the local language, because then the automation system can try to support and to translate. So I would say what is quite clear, we need more people that have the ability in the engineering and design and programming of all these environments, also in controlling the correct behavior. So higher level stuff is required, and is more required. We need IT specialists, but also computer scientists that know about production environments. We need kind of production-oriented computer scientists. From them, we cannot have enough. Simple programming also may be a domain where there is not so much workload required in the future. You more need really expert programming. You need to integrate data analytics into such architectures. So sophisticated high-level programming is required. So at the end of the day, the future will tell us, and if there will be more people or less people.
The role that will change. Sanjay sir, I want your opinion. So, what skills set or new skill sets required in this era? Sanjay sir. Sanjay sir.
Okay, so see, basically, if you break this whole opportunity down into number of components, on one hand, you will have a bunch of enabling technologies coming from the hardware side. So you will say sensors, drives, meters, communication devices, and things like that. On the other hand, you will have enabling technology software side, which will include all computing, analytics, decision support systems, and things like that. Then you'll have integration related jobs coming up. And then you have also application domain itself will become a significantly contributing factor, because if you really see all these people as kind of plumbers and carpenters of the IoT space, the architect will be the domain expert who will tell what do they need and where do they need really that kind of expertise. So these are the opportunities which will emerge from application of these technologies. Another side that I can possibly see is not directly connected with this question, but two mega trends that one could talk about, which is essentially a circular economy. So as we have a way of mapping the whole product life cycle and then leading to kind of a circular economy, that is going to create significantly large number of jobs, and a lot of them could be also manual for foreseeable future. So while one could see some depletion of jobs in one sector, which is the manual manufacturing side, there'll be a significantly large number of jobs which could emerge from these areas. So I think overall, if one were to look at it as a kind of a balance, then obviously sooner or later we will strike a balance. So there is always a negative sentiment which comes with new technology, but like when computers came in and jobs in banks were lost for some time, and a whole bunch of new jobs also got created alongside. So IoT also could possibly spin out those kind of jobs which we can't really foresee at this point in time with our linear thinking.
Sir, your comments.
Yeah, asking
Suresh.
me?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Suresh sir. So your voice is not clear.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
muted by organizers. I don't know. I mean, multiple times it happened. Whether it is some bug or something, I don't know. Okay, I mean, as Mr. Sanjay has said, with every new innovation, this debate is always there. Whether this will reduce employment, increase employment. So employment is important aspect of the society. That is true. But innovation is more important. So if you look back and in last 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever number of years you can look back, you will find huge amounts of changes that have happened in the world, and a lot of people with some skills, they lost opportunity of employment, even for business, forget about employment. And lot many new skills, people with new skills, there was huge opportunity for those people. And always the people who lost the employment opportunity were with a lower level of skills, and people where the opportunity emerged, it was always with a higher level of skills. The people who lost the jobs were always earning less, and the opportunities for which new employment opportunities came up, those were always with higher pays. So that is the nature of this world, that uh, few things will go away, new things will come up. So as a result of that, whether there will be more employment or less employment, that is very difficult to answer, or very difficult to predict. but definitely there will be change. Some skills, people with some skills will not have opportunity, and there will be opportunity with a lot many opportunities would be available there for higher level of skills.
Thank you, sir. The next question is to Makarand sir. Sir, what type of courses to be offered by the institutes or academic institutes to tackle the challenges of Industry 4.0?
See, as far as courses are concerned, I think what is important to understand is the kind of knowledge that the new generation of engineers will need. See, some time back, the courses related to modeling, optimization, etc., were considered as future potential opportunities. But with these new technologies coming in, these are no longer future actually. So there are certain things now engineers would be expected to know and would be the minimum requirements, which earlier were good to have, or have now become must have. So keeping that in mind, there are certain things that need to be made a part of every curriculum, which includes things like doing courses on machine learning, IoT, analytics, programming. So earlier the courses that were good to have are now must have. So it is not that new courses have to be invented, right? Let me give an example. See, everyone used to have courses like finite element. So these courses till some point in time were good to have and was must have for, let us say, design engineers, because their jobs required them to know finite element analysis. But now if you see the way the things have changed, or the technology is going to make things different, is that the understanding that the model that has got created at the design stage should also be exploited at the manufacturing, should also be exploited at the usage, and possibly also should be exploited at the end of life of any particular asset. Which basically means not only the designer, but the production people, the people who are going to use the asset, they also might be able to take advantage of such models, provided they are made available to them in through things like digital twins or cyber physical systems. So an entirely new opportunity is opening up for engineers to create these virtual entities. And therefore now what was good to have will very soon become probably must have, and therefore the courses that were being taught would not be very different, but the way core courses and elective courses are designed, that would change. That is my take.
Asim sir, so like mechanical and other traditional courses are not offering these type of courses, right? So what can be changed in curriculum of these courses, because mostly these courses are offered by electronics and I mean circuit branches, but non-circuit branches do not have such type of courses in their curriculum, which may be a required part of Industry 4.2. Asim sir.
Yeah, it takes a while sometimes to get unmuted. Okay. Yeah, Prashant, actually, this is very closely related to your previous question. See, at the end of the day, our product at an institute are people who will be absorbed by the industry. And thus it is very closely connected to the demand and the employment requirement. And one model cannot fit all. Like, we have to be very mindful of the fact that something which works for Europe will not work for India. Germany, France, and other European countries are having a decreasing population. Actually, Germany has a major problem of population decrease for people who are in the working age group, whereas India has the other problem. You know, we are having a population which is growing. Our median age is 27, 26 years. So we have to be mindful of the fact that the industry 4.0 as would be in Europe will be very different and has to be very different from that in India. And of course, I am aware of the fact Professor Kulkarni and others are involved in consulting and advising government as to what should be the structure of industry 4.0 in India. It should not be the same automation based. So coming back to the fact that industry 4.0 will impact jobs in a major manner. However, we have to be such that we do not let the jobs decrease, but it's only that they get retransformed to other skill sets. Now, coming back to your specific question, so our products are students who will graduate, and these graduates need to find a job. And as you say that these were some things which were taught in only computer science and electrical, but I would disagree actually. 30 years back, computers were thought to be something which is only taught to computer science. Now, if you're an engineer, you're supposed to know computers. So now the basic literacy for a computer has, for an engineer has become, you know, computers. So you need to know basic understanding of computers. You should be able to do basic programming. So if you graduate with an engineering degree, you're expected to do those things. So similarly, I feel in the coming years, once you graduate with an engineering degree from mechanical engineering and allied aerospace and others, you should be having these basic skill sets. One is that you need to have understanding of IoT and Internet of Things and Internet of Everything. You need to have an understanding of data analytics and machine learning and statistics. But at the same time, you need to have a domain knowledge so that you can utilize this strength in your own domain. So the same courses of machine learning can be used by a person in management for inventory management or you know, something to do with marketing, whereas a mechanical engineer can use the same skill sets with an understanding of the domain knowledge in production and manufacturing. So I think we may have to really go through a change in mindset as to what really is mechanical engineering, and that will then be translated to our students. And of course, the industry needs to be able to absorb those students, which is, I think, the most important thing, and which is where government comes into play. So in this panel today, you don't have any government representative in that sense, but I think that's a very, very important aspect.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to know from Dr. Uslander, so what type of problems SMEs has faced in implementation of Industry 4.0?
Yes, a lot of. On the one hand, they have to understand the series of specifications and bring them down to their requirements, to their level of understanding, because they are not yet commercial products. A lot of commercial products that they may directly use. So it's still more prototypical implementation if they adopt the technology. To be real, if you say I want to really to use the concepts of the asset administration shell, so there are not yet many products that support that. So this will improve. For the SMEs, mainly for those who are more on the production process, who also conceive machines and production assets, they have to shift towards supporting the IT programming, the service programming around these machines. So they need many more computer scientists and programmers than they had before. Some of these companies even don't have software programming skills. They are just users. So this has to change, and they can do that either by hiring people on the market or by joining the forces with software companies. So these are the major aspects for the SMEs. And now with the emergence also of AI methods for smart manufacturing, there's another challenge to also think about how can I get the data scientists on board. So a third type of skills that you need. So all these SMEs undergo tremendous changes in their personal setting, in the skills their personal need, and also in the uncertainty. Okay, what will be relevant on the market in the future? Do I really have to be interoperable and compliant with Industry 4.0 specifications in order to be successful on the market? I would say yes, but if they ask, okay, and what do I win today? You would tell them, okay, not yet very much, because it's not yet industry standard, but it will become. And then another third dimension is IT security. And if you open your machines based on open interfaces, and open here means open defined interfaces, okay, you still should have knowledge and constraints for access control and also data usage control. And also there, the specialists are raw on the market. So it's not very easy for the SMEs to support this trend, but the German government is supporting them a lot. So there are a lot of programs to integrate SMEs in such projects, and we as Applied Research Institute are trying to help that SMEs get on track for Industry 4.0.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So I would like to know from Kiran, sir, what is the scenario in India and whether government is playing some role in this, the similar like German government?
So let me answer the first question. So in India, we actually work with quite a few SMEs. And the problem, as Dr. Lander had said, is essentially, to SMEs, you need to go and push products in. If you go with a solution approach that can be customized, that doesn't become financially viable for the person or the company giving that solution, right? Because they are very high cost sensitive, and for them, most of them work on material margins, right? Material in, add value, and material out. So from that perspective, what they need is more productized offerings. So and that's what we've done. So we've now come up with pre-packaged offerings for SMEs. And the SMEs that have seen more success are the ones, again, as Dr. Ulander mentioned, that some of them have gone ahead and hired somebody to look at the data and look at the analytics, because we can only take it up to a level, right? We cannot keep somebody engaged continuously to give analytics and to give that, because that is something that, again, we can't afford to do. So the SMEs that have gone ahead and hired this have seen more success in adopting something like this. For the SMEs, I think as far as the government, I'm part of the CII Smart Manufacturing Council, and there have been, there's definitely a will and an intent from the government side to make sure that Industry 4.0 touches SMEs. And I think that is being worked through. That will take time to hit the SME level, because the execution is what the execution is in India, right? But definitely intent is there, and it will happen. There are, I think Germany that way does a much more better job, obviously, but we can learn something from that. We can look at how we can possibly incentivize SMEs to adopt more of this, because inherently it will make us more efficient and more ready for the future. So short answer, the government is doing stuff, what I can see, but I think it will take time to trickle through up to the SME levels.
Yeah, Vishwas sir, your comments.
Based on my experience with SMEs in industrial automation, particularly with a lot of OEMs, the typical situation that we have always observed is a limited manpower with them. And say we'll take an example of a machine normally will be more oriented to the machine part. I'm now covering more from the academics point of view, so that the skills further can be built into that. So the challenge that the SMEs face is the people that they have skill sets in silos. The mechanical engineer would know, he can calculate and tell what is the BKW required to drive a shaft, but he will not be able to translate it into the kilowatt rating or the torque rating of the motor. And the automation engineer will not be able to understand what is required by the mechanical engineer. So here the requirement is to break the silos in academia itself. So what is important is we need to inculcate the interdisciplinary approach in the students, right from when they are here in the engineering college. So what we have done is the first year students, we have introduced engineering exploration, where they are exposed to interdisciplinary skill sets, all branches, including circuit branches or non-circuit branches. They would learn mechanism, they would learn embedded systems, they would learn designing to bring customer-centric approach. They would also be taught a complete design approach also. So if this approach is built in and carried over through next second year, third year, final year approach, so that is the kind of approach is required to break the silos and help resolve MSME's issues, because the computer science engineer is required, because none of these products in Industry 4.0 are in silos. We need people with a complete interdisciplinary understanding of all domains. So we need to address that challenge also through academia, because there are a lot of academicians on the panel this conference. So I thought this is an important point to be addressed.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So the next question is how to assess the readiness of SMEs for implementation of Industry 4. Kulkarni sir.
Well, many people have come up with assessment mechanisms, and in fact, we are currently working with IIT Indore to come up with something we hope will be better than what exists. But our experience has been that it is not easy to build a universal assessment mechanism. If you try to do that, it becomes very generic. And if you try to address a specific sector, then it becomes too specific. So it is not easy to develop a universal assessment mechanism. However, what needs to be understood is, well, I don't know what is the best assessment mechanism as of yet, but there have been two thought processes. One is that is focused on solutions. Other is that is focused on the company's business performance or functional needs, and assessing the company's status against the functional needs and trying to assess whether to what extent they are ready for Industry 4.0. The other approach is to look at what kind of solutions they are currently using on their shop floor or in their supply chains or whatever, and then assess how far they are into implementing Industry 4.0. Both have their advantages as well as disadvantages, and I am yet to come across an assessment mechanism which is complete in all its aspect and is still generic enough to be applied across organizations. Even we, the work that we are doing, we ourselves have not reached a stage where we can say that we have devised a foolproof or an ideal assessment mechanism. But well, the assessment part is open to all kinds of innovations as well. That's my take.
Okay, thank you, sir. Suresh, sir, your comments.
Right, as Professor has said, assessing on a structured way on some standardized methodology will be difficult. I agree with him. So for me, Industry 4.0 is not a technology. Industry 4.0 is philosophy. For Industry 4.0 is a thought process. Industry 4.0 is uh, shaping your business and bringing in focus on customers and improving your efficiencies with the help of the modern technology or exponential technology in an integrated manner. So it is not one single technology, it is not one single project. So it will be a huge project for that organization, which will go over multiple years and span across all the activities, all the functions across the entire manufacturing value chain, from product development to its entire life cycle to the aftermarket support, including all the processes. So it is not like what kind of a readiness you will check on how they are going to develop a new product. What kind of a readiness you will check. I mean, it is not like just putting some IoT devices on machines. That doesn't make it Industry 4.0, right? So it spans across the entire life cycle, spans across entire value chain. So for me, the assessing readiness would be how the top management of that business is game for this concept, right? And if they are game for it and they understand what is the business value or what is the value they will bring in to their customers through this transformation, so it's a transformation, then I can see that they are ready. But then there will be a plan of action. They will have to do a lot of activities, changing a lot of things, changing machines, changing the way they work, changing their thought process, changing their setup, changing their people. So I mean, that is what I think about readiness, the mindset of those who are the decision makers, who are leading that business. If in their mind they are ready, then maybe that organization is ready to start, not implement. Implementation will go through maybe 5-7 years.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So what opportunities are available for startups in Industry 4.0 implementation? Asim, sir, could you start?
Well, there are ample of opportunities, but as was pointed out by a panelist, the opportunities have to be specific. So these have to be products. They cannot be generic devices which you can sell, because the MSMEs are not really looking for a generic purpose device and then figure out what it can do for them. So they are looking for a specific product which can directly go and help them in a specific process, maybe a business process, maybe a manufacturing optimization process, or something like that. So essentially it has to be a product, and that is somewhere the value has to be seen by the industry for them to look for this capital investment. So that is, I think, one thing which we have not been able to very much bring on the table as to what is the value which this is going to bring, and especially when the industry is working at not its full capacity. So the capacity utilization is right now, with pandemic, of course, it is very low, but otherwise also it was below 80%, 70%, 70, 80%, which means that we are not really going to create a need for this right away. It's only when your resources are stretched and you want efficiency, better quality, and cheaper, that's when you will start looking at investing on technology. So I think we have to start in a product manner. We have to have specific products which the industry can relate to and can have a direct impact on their bottom line. Somehow we have not been able to bring that. it is more like a cost to them rather than they seeing the benefit right away coming out of it.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Sanjay, sir, your comments.
So, hello.
Hello. Ha, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible. Sanjay, sir.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible. So, what opportunities are available for startups in Industry 4.0 implementation?
So, startup, when we say startup, let's understand one thing, that which kind of startup are we addressing? Are we thinking of startups which will come and implement Industry 4.0 for others? If that is the question, then obviously it's a completely new emerging industry at one level, in which, as Suresh sir said, that it is not technology by itself, is an integration of things. So a startup which can integrate things at a certain scale and level. So for example, SME needs are completely different than agriculture. So we can take one specific case example to understand things a little better than talking generic. So for example, you have a greenhouse that you want to automate. It needs temperature sensor, humidity sensor. Now, if you buy Israeli sensor, it costs you 28,000 rupees. But in India, a farmer can't pay 28,000 rupees. That means you have to begin with the sensor, which can be brought down to the cost of sensor has to come down to say 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 rupees. So it can be bundled together as a package for this particular farming application. So the startups will have, I would say, opportunities in engineering and re-engineering product or re-adapting them so that they can be applied for the specific purposes. So when you look at healthcare, for example, in primary healthcare, now primary healthcare would give you a lot of opportunities in terms of monitoring patients and communicating data to the specialty hospitals for referencing. Now startups could play their role in these spaces also, because large organizations essentially want a much higher scale of implementation, etc. They don't move in that fast in those areas, and that's where startups do have a role to play. One by one, we could go. Preventive maintenance, for example, could be thought about as one specific vertical where people could go and work, and everywhere you use drives, motors and things like that. And so one could think of a small package which is essentially indicating servicing the need of preventive maintenance. So as one of the panelists said, that you have to productize things. You can't sell a generic solution. So preventive maintenance product by itself, which you could sell to say everybody who's using a press shop or who is using certain kind of milling machines or drilling machines and things like that. So such product building applications could be done by startups far more easily, because they could focus on one small application area and build things around that. When all the solutions will get integrated over a period of time, then you would have a full-fledged rollout of 4.0 in that sense of the term. But it will start with this building block development and implementation at the SME level, specifically, one way to look at it. For example, Prashant sir, you would remember that some of our students have worked on SME's problem of validity go no go test application, improving productivity from say some 600 pieces to 6,000 pieces in a day, right? And at a very low cost. Now you could call it as an industry 4.0 application from SME perspective. A large organization wouldn't really want to give you a solution for 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees. They can't cover their costs in that. But definitely a startup incubated in an academic setup could come up with those kinds of solutions and build a business out of that.
Thank you, sir. So the last question for the session: what collaboration opportunities available for Indian academia with German organizations? Asim sir, Kulkarni sir, and Dr. Uslander.
Yes, if I may start here. Okay, of course, you may directly contact one of the research institutes that are active in the platform industry 4.0. So this could be my institute, but also there are also other institutes that are active. You could contact them and directly try to exchange ideas, try to work on common projects. I don't know, sometimes there are also bilateral bi-national research programs between Germany and India. So this is an opportunity. Another opportunity is I have launched the industrial community of the International Data Spaces Association 2 weeks ago. So this is an open opportunity that tries to link data sharing aspects of IDS with the platform industry 4.0. This is an open community. In my presentation, I've added a link to that. If you want to join, you simply have to send an email to the address there. And the third level, I would say, I don't know if in India research in organizations are also active in standardization. So if you're active there, you may directly contact the standardization councils Industry 4.0 in Germany in order to try out what type of cooperation between the standardization organizations is possible. So these would be the three options I could offer.
Yes. Asim sir. Makaran sir.
All right, if okay, I'll pitch in here. See, we are already doing a few things with participation from industries outside India. For example, we are having a project with University of Cambridge, and MIT happens to be a partner in that as well. And our experience has been very interesting. So the Cambridge University group has been trying to develop solutions which are targeted towards their small and medium scale industries. Our side, that is Indian side, has been busy trying to develop solutions to address the needs of Indian SMEs. And what is interesting is that whenever we interact, we are able to actually see how solutions get developed, keeping certain specific needs in mind. What are the differences in the requirements of SMEs in UK and India? But more or less, because the development interests are different, the projects in which each of us is working is different. So in my opinion, what it will benefit the most is that probably we are interested in working in some project on which the other side has already worked or is planning to work in future. So reinventing the wheel is what can be avoided, and experience sharing, if the other side has done already some work on this, can be incorporated to make better products. So there is definitely a lot of scope in international.
Yeah, I think we can stop here. Already we are at the closing time. So I would like to thank all the panelists for giving their all insights about Industry 4.0 related questions. And I hope we'll have the same collaborations in future. And thank you very much all. Yeah, and we'll start with our valedictory in 5-10 minutes. So thanks again.
Yep.
Yeah. I would also like to thank all the panelists, and it was nice interacting with all of you. And I hope even after this workshop, we will be able to interact through some interface in the
Yeah, I
future.
think we
Thank
can
you.
stay connected through Prashant Ambad, and like one point of contact we could have, so that some kind of a collaboration opportunities could emerge as we move forward.
Yeah.
But,
Yes, then my
Aurangabad-
suggestion would be that Prashant can be the point of course, contact in Aurangabad. But in the near future, maybe through consortia like we are having with multiple industry and academia partners, we could have a similar workshop where at least remotely all of us can join and see what each other is doing and learn from each other's experience. That way we will progress faster on the learning curve, and that will help all of us.
I agree with that. I think that is a good idea.
It's a great idea.
Sure. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thanks a
thank
lot.
you too for this collaboration. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
A very good evening to everyone. On behalf of Maharashtra Institute of Technology Aurangabad and organizing committee, I welcome you all for the valedictory function of this international symposium on opportunities and challenges in Industry 4.0. These 3 days of symposium have been full of wonderful insights from all the experts from various fields. So let us hear it from the attendees of the symposium that what experience they have to share. So I will call some of the attendees to share their experiences. I will request Professor Sachin Lomte sir from Maharashtra to share his.
Very good evening to all of you. Uh, I thank the entire organizing committee. Special thanks to Dr. Prashant and Dr. Ganesh for putting up a very nice event through this technical symposium. To offer my parting shots, if I have to put this entire thing in one word, it could be mindful. And all the sessions were aptly sensitizing sessions. The flow of the content expression was mesmerizing in all the sessions. It was truly deep learning of a big kind of transformation through Industry 4.0, and very effectively moderated sessions and the entire event. So thank you very much.
I will request Dr. Arvind Shale sir from Maharashtra to share his experience, please. Dr. Arvind Shale sir.
I'm very, very happy to see immense pleasure in congratulating the team of Dr. Bhosle sir, Dr. Bhosle, Dr. Smes, and hosting successfully international symposium on opportunities and challenges. I learned all financial industry history with implementing Industry 4.0, its benefits, really like the various
After this, we can put
procedures on smart factory. Professor from Italy, Dr. Thomas Islander from Germany, and I very much thankful to the teachers Asim Shivariti and Lakshman Sundramji from IIT Bombay for enlightening us with various aspects of Industry 4.0. And also thankful to the industry partner, Mr. Suresh Chakravarti and Mr. Karan Nasar, who has enlightened us with various industry aspects. Especially, I thank Dr. Bhosle for organizing this international symposium. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We will now, thank you so much, sir. We will now move on our session. I would request Dr. Santosh Bhosle, sir, Principal of Maharashtra Institute of Technology, as well as the convener of the symposium, to present to us with the concluding remarks and the presidential address. Over to you, Santosh Bhosle, sir.
Good evening, one and all. I'm very happy to have this 3-day international technical symposium on opportunities and challenges in Industry 4.0. The experts were from IIT, two from outside India, and then some industry persons were also there for conducting the sessions. I could get the feedback that all the sessions were really good, and there was a definitely some takeaway for all the participants, may it be from industry or academia, like faculty members or students or research scholars. Also, I could listen to the panel discussion which took place right now, which was excellent panel discussion. So I thank all the panelists for being part of this panel discussion, as well as all the expert speakers for guiding the participants on the current issues of opportunities and challenges in Industry 4.0. So without taking much of your time, I thank one and all. I also thank the participants for being part of this 3 days symposium. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would now request Dr. Prashant Ambad, sir, the coordinator of IQAC and Industry Cell for MIT, to present the vote of thanks. Over to you, Ambad, sir.
Thank you, madam. So, respected dignitaries and my dear participant present here, a very good evening to all of you. So, it has been our great pleasure to host this online technical symposium on opportunities and challenges, first time at Maharashtra Institute of Technology, Aurangabad. I, Prashant Ambad, coordinator of Industry Cell, on behalf of MIT, would like to take this opportunity to thank our speakers. The first speaker for the session, all the sessions were Sri Suresh Sakkarwar from Findability Sciences for his enlightening session on the role of artificial intelligence in Industry 4.0. I would like to thank second speaker, Professor Asem Tiwari from IIT Bombay for his highly enthusiastic session with Ocean of Knowledge on Industry 4.0 with specific focus on AI and smart manufacturing. I am thankful to Professor Luigi Triano from Sennio University, Italy, for his insightful speech on neurons, the emergence from simplicity. I am also thankful to Professor MS Kulkarni from IIT Bombay for his very informative and energetic session on maintenance aspects pertaining to Industry 4.0. I would like to express my sincere thanks to Dr. Thomas Uslander from Germany, from where the Industry 4 movement has started, for providing perceptions about the topic IT perspectives upon smart factories, Industry 4.0 and the connected world. I sincerely thanks to Sri Kiran Natraj, CEO Intrip Technology, for sparing his valuable time and educated all the participants about the technology skill required for IIoT. I may like to express my sincere thanks to all the panelists from our eminent speakers and also the panelists from our institute, Mr. Sanjay Deshmukh and Mr. Vishwas Kurunkar from MIT Aurangabad. I also wish to express my deep sense of gratitude to our driving force, Honorable Director General, Professor Munish Sharma, for his constant encouragement and support for all such endeavors. I would like to express my sincere thanks to our beloved principal, Maharashtra Institute of Technology, Dr. Santosh Bhosle, who is an energetic force in organizing such events. Further, I must express my heartfelt thanks to all my team members, Dr. Ganesh Sable, Mr. Nihit Agrawal, Ms. Preeti Mishra, Mr. S.B. Biradar, Mr. U.D. Shirai, Dr. Vinod Puri Gosavi, and Mr. Vijendra Chaudhary for streamlining the activities in the best possible way. Finally, I wish to express my special and hearty thanks to all the participants for actively participating in the symposium. We are very sorry for the technical difficulties caused during the online sessions, as well as difficulties in login as well as getting the link. I hope we will be able to satisfy your expectations. Thank you all once again. Those who missed the videos, all the videos of the sessions will be available on our YouTube channel. You are requested to watch those videos on our YouTube channel. The link for our YouTube channel will be provided to you in the Telegram link. We'll send your certificates after verification within next 3-4 days of time. Thank you once again. With this, I will declare that our symposium is over. Yeah, thank you.
MIT में पढ़कर हम चलते हैं सक्सेस की ओर. MIT Group of Academic and Research Institutions, Aurangabad, Maharashtra, announces admission in engineering and management with 40 years in technical education, over 12,000 plus students, best placement cell in world-class companies, best infrastructure. Bead Bypass, Aurangabad. Call 0240-237-5375 or visit www.mit.asia.